I'm Jed Kirshbaum. I was a staff photographer at the Baltimore Sun for 33 years. I'm sitting right now in a gallery, the Gallery Francoise, owned by Mary Jo Gordon. And Mary Jo, about 2.5 years ago, came to me and wanted to do a last picture show. So she asked me if I'd be willing to have my photographs in an exhibit. And so I basically said, yeah, sure, I would be honored to have my stuff on a wall. And so right now there are 96 photos on the wall and probably another 30 to 40 on a table, and a whole bunch of storyboards along the floor. When I was an undergraduate at Johns Hopkins, I was an English major, which when I was finished, essentially, I felt as if I could go to truck driving school or sell insurance. And I really wasn't sure what I was going to do in terms of a career. I was hitchhiking in Europe, and a gentleman with the U.S. Embassy in Belgium was developing my photographs that I took, and he asked me what I was going to do when I got back to the States, and I told him that I had no idea, and he said, think about becoming a photographer. So he kind of put the thought in the back of my mind, and when I came back, I took a night school course in photography, and one in Baltimore, and then another one in Connecticut. And when I was pumping gas for the state of Connecticut, I decided to go back to school and try to come up with a career. And I thought I was going to be in writing. I asked several professors that were teaching me in night school if they'd write a recommendation for me. I thought I would try to go to some form of journalism school to become a writer of some sort. And one of the night school teachers said, well, you like photography. There are several programs in photojournalism, so maybe that'd be a good idea to consider one of those. One of the first things I'll ask students is if they know what the word photography means. And a lot of people will just kind of stop and think for a minute. It's something they've never really thought about. It's just a word, photography. But I try to get them to think that the derivation of the words from the Greek is essentially meaning to write with light. And in order to be a photojournalist, you have to consider the whole idea of writing with light, because that's going to be your entire vocabulary. It's going to be your subjects, your verbs, and your objects of any sentence you want to write. Whatever sentence you write is going to have to be in the form of an image. And the best images for communicating are ones that have considered that it is a matter of writing with light.
But every photographer writes with light. You do just something different. What else do you use?
Well, Star Wars is big right now. I always felt that one of the important things when you were working on photography was that you had to have the force be with you. If you look at light in terms of an actual tangible thing, a quality, if you look around any given room, I can look around this room right now and I'll see dark spots, I'll see bright spots, and I'll see what the light is doing to things, that it's not the same. Every part of the room is a little bit different. And that awareness of what the light is doing is important, and the force is with you when you find the right light, when you find the light that's going to make something more wondrous or magical, or whatever you want to call it. It's not everywhere. You have to look for it. You don't always find it. Most of the time you don't find it. But every once in a while, the force is with you, and you find light that makes things special. There are two cardinal rules that I try to teach anybody that I'm trying to instruct about photography. You always try to leave people their dignity, and you never steal a photograph. If someone thinks you're taking something from them, you're stealing something from them, they're going to put up defenses. They're going to keep you out, away from who they are or from their space. If they don't think they can trust you. And the only way someone's going to trust you is if they feel that when all is said and done, you're going to leave them their dignity. So I always try to approach taking photographs or portraits of people with those two things in mind, that you never steal a photograph. People think you're stealing something, they're not going to let you get close, and you try to leave people their dignity. The photograph I took of the older woman, her name is Mary Fox. I took that years ago, and kind of on a border between Hoboken and Jersey City, New Jersey. And it was a very hot day. I was trying to take photographs of kids playing by an open fire hydrant, and some parent watching the kids said, "You want a picture? We'll get you a picture." And they yelled, "Somebody go get Mary." And so I stood there and waited, and all of a sudden this elderly woman came out and got over by the fire hydrant, because she liked to do it, they said. She liked to get under the water, and when she'd stand there, she'd say, "It's just like Coney Island." And she just looked so proud, and some people might look at it and say it's not very dignified, but I think Mary was at the point where she felt her own dignity,